Here we go again. So, the Spyro 4 videos seem to aggravate some people. Why? Why now when there has been the most evidence for this game literally, ever? Including a report insisting that it did start development last year in January 2024. Well, let's talk about it. What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and I am back with a back-to-back Spyro 4 video. Ain't that neat? By the way, if you're interested in a Thievius Raccoonus, or maybe a Crystal Dragon, or maybe even a Spyro Key, well, if you're interested in any of that, there is a link in the description below. I have my 3D print Etsy shop set up, so if you're interested in any of that stuff, go check it out. Last year, I reported that a brand new Spyro title was in development. And according to the last time that I spoke to my sources about this project, it still is. Now, at the time of last year's video, most people were happy. They seemed very happy that the game was in development. But since that report, every time I go to talk about Spyro 4, more and more comments seem to suddenly flood the comment section, doubting that a Spyro 4 or a brand new Spyro title, whatever you want to call it, even exists in the first place. I did a poll asking my viewers to weigh in, and after a great sample size, 30% of people do not believe that it's actually in development, which is 30% too many. Now, I haven't done a Spyro 4 exists and here's evidence of it video in a long time. The reason why is because I thought my video stating that it is in development kinda deflates me making any more of them. I mean, if I continue to make, hey, it's in development videos after I made a report stating that it is in development, does it not undermine the report? Why do I need to keep proving it's in development? But today, I'm gonna bust out a classic CGE evidence-based video and show you that Spyro is in development with minimal to no sourcing of my original personal report from last year. Buckle up, because I haven't actually done this in over a year, and a lot has happened. This video has been split into about 6 chapters or segments, and we're gonna start right away with the first, Toys for Bob's indie statement. Oh, and by the way, hold your horns, we're moving fast. We're not deeply analyzing this stuff, we are ripping through, so hold on tight. When Toys for Bob announced that they were officially going to be an indie studio, they sent out a press release talking about this exciting opportunity that they get to have. They mentioned that they were looking to work with Xbox and thanked Activision for their time there. However, at the bottom of that said press statement, it says, quote, "So keep your horns on and your eyes out for more news." If you read through the entire press release, you would know that there is no other cheeky or playful references to any other character. The only reference is Hold Your Horns, which is a reference to Spyro the Dragon and no other character. And this is only the beginning. Toys for Bob would also change their logo and color scheme as soon as they went indie to a familiar violet purple, while also having a gem-like texture to it. Of course, connecting Spyro to the color purple and the fact that gems are Spyro's main collectible. But Toys for Bob has done this numerous times in the past. When Toys for Bob shifts its focus of development, they also change their logo. They have done this for Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and yes, even unfortunately, Call of Duty. So Toys for Bob actually shifting the design of their logo to being very focused on Spyro the Dragon, it's a small indication of what they could be working on. When you visit their brand new website as well, the top header says, "We are an independent game studio that loves to craft epic adventures for timeless characters." And guess who's smack dab in the front? Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, along with this reoccurring purple theme. When you scroll down the website, it also says, "Our mission to inspire love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all gamers." Both of these statements indicate to me the type of studio that Toys for Bob wants to be, one that aligns with what Spyro the Dragon exactly is. And of course, at the bottom, if you look at the Our Games section, you can see one of the games is a question mark, and that question mark is once again purple and gem textured. Now, let's get to the next section of this video. Job Nadelberg. No, that's not an autocorrection. Crash Bandicoot 4 and Spyro Reignited share the same art director, Josh Nadelberg. Josh was quintessential for the look and design for both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon from Toys for Bob. However, during unfortunately the 2021 mass layoffs across the gaming industry, including Activision, Josh was let go and actually got a job at Phoenix Labs. However, in August 2024, Josh would leave Phoenix Labs because unfortunately they canned their working project, Project Dragon, to return to Toys for Bob as the art director once again. You have to realize, Josh didn't actually work on like Skylanders or any other sort of Toys for Bob IP according to his credit list, as his resume shows that he was basically exclusively hired for both Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot. Him returning to Toys for Bob is simply art direction continuity for the projects that he was initially hired for. Speaking of jobs, shut up, phone! Speaking of jobs, there was a few job listings that popped up from Toys for Bob over the past couple of months. One of the themes that we see is that the project that Toys for Bob is working on is currently being made in Unreal Engine, which is the engine that was used for the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and that this project would be recycling and repurposing already established assets. Of course, this is a normal thing in game development, but also means that the project that they are working on most likely are going to be sourcing assets that are from other Unreal-based engine titles, which whittles the list down to Spyro Reignited, Crash Bandicoot 4, and Crash Team Rumble. Now, let's zip to the social media frenzy of this video. While Toys for Bob has been pretty quiet overall, the other account that has fallen silent was Crash Bandicoot. Yet somehow, Spyro has been posting more and has been more active across multiple different platforms, which is odd considering Crash Team Rumble and Crash Bandicoot 4 is more recent than the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Why would there be activity on the Spyro front? That doesn't really make sense. But let's rewind back to the end of 2023. We held our annual fan-led Spyro Community Day, a day where Spyro fans can come together in unison on social media to share art, theories, stream the game, and much more. And one theme, of course, is people wishing and hoping for a brand new Spyro title. In fact, in our official original post that gives instructions on what to do for the day, this is explicitly spoken about right here, where it talks about talking about for a new sequel. However, leading up to the event, the official Spyro account on Twitter had retweeted this post. Not only that, but actively participated throughout the entire day with Community Day activities. And this was happening approximately 3 months before Spyro 4, or a new Spyro, went into development. Now, I know I said that I would refer to my personal report last year at a very minimal level. However, if you want evidence of when their current project went into development, according to one of the heads and vets at Toys for Bob, their current unannounced project had started development in December 2023. Then in January 2024, when the project has allegedly started its full hype train development or got approved, the Spyro account posted this image with a classic line referencing Parappa the Rapper, "You gotta believe," which to me sounds like have some hope. Now, let's fast forward to today, Spyro's Green Deal. Xbox had acquired Activision Blizzard in an almost $70 billion deal, which means Xbox now owns the rights to Spyro the Dragon. Xbox has thus far had a different approach to how they're going to handle Activision's IPs, like recently Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 Remastered. If you don't know, before the acquisition, Tony Hawk himself confirmed that Tony Hawk 3 plus 4 was actually in development to follow Tony Hawk 1 plus 2. However, according to Tony, it was shelved due to Vicarious Visions fusing with Blizzard, and no one, quote, pitched anything that was really interesting to them. Suddenly, Xbox buys Activision, and then the project is suddenly back and in the limelight. While we don't know the exact timing of when and how it came back, the optics make it look like the projects that Activision pushed aside are being unshelved by Xbox. Additionally, a concern was raised about Spyro 4 and it being exclusive to the Xbox market and its ecosystem. Well, fear not, because Tony Hawk 3 plus 4, which is also a nostalgic non-pillar Activision product, much like Spyro, is coming to every console under the sun, including, yes of course, PlayStation Day 1, meaning we can assume the same for this brand new Spyro project. Additionally, remember how Toys for Bob said that they were looking to make a deal with Xbox? Well, they certainly did. In an article with Jez Corden back in March 2024, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, announced that they had come to a deal with Toys for Bob. While not giving any details as to what that deal actually was, he said, quote, "It will be similar to games Toys for Bob has made in the past." Remember how I mentioned that due to job listings that this would probably be a project that was likely from an already established game? This would probably lock it down for you. If you're not convinced yet about Spyro, then I hope that what I'm about to say is your tipping point. Phil Spencer, the CEO of Xbox, has a motto and thought process when it comes to game studios making the games, and that is that game studios should make games that they want to make. This is why when people use the argument, "Oh, look at Banjo-Kazooie, Xbox is not doing anything with it," well, no, because nobody right now at Xbox wants to do anything with a brand new Banjo-Kazooie, and that has been confirmed confirmed through numerous articles, including from Rare themselves. So what does this have to do with Spyro? Well, we're about to show you the interest of a man that would be an authority figure when it comes to Spyro the Dragon, and that is Paul Yan. Paul Yan is the co-studio head of Toys for Bob and its creative director. Paul Yan has stated numerous times that he believes that Spyro deserves a brand new game. One of the first big signals of this was the post where numerous 3D platformers were listed, and the question was asked, which two games deserves a sequel? Paul Yan actually responded with his own personal Twitter account saying Spyro the Dragon and Banjo-Kazooie. Now, some might say, wait, doesn't that mean Toys for Bob could be working on a Banjo-Kazooie game because they're working with Xbox? Well, sadly, no, because one, not everything that we have talked about before here actually applies to Banjo, and two, Jez Corden, once again, confirmed that there was no Banjo-Kazooie in development.
I mean, I don't know if never, but I can tell you right now, categorically, there is no Banjo game in development as of this podcast on the 26th of June, 2024, there is no Banjo game in development right now.
And this confirmation was after the fact that Toys for Bob was in full swing development with their next project. Then, in an interview with Paul Yan, conducted by me, that's right, this guy interviewed Paul Yan in 2023, right after Xbox had merged with Activision Blizzard, I asked him directly about a brand new Spyro title, and he felt that Spyro deserved a brand new game.
But I agree with you. I agree that Spyro deserves a new game. And it's pretty clear there's an audience for it. We've got some interesting times ahead for Toys for Bob and for Activision in a greater sense. We'll see.
After this statement, he then turned and asked me a question that still blows my mind to this day.
Hypothetically, if someone were to embark on making that new game, what are some other games that you'd be looking at?
One of the games that I would actually look at is Okami. The worlds of Spyro are so beautiful. The environment is so pleasing, and in Okami you can have so much interaction where the environment blossoms and changes and is restored. And then when Spyro saves the day, the whole world opens up in a flourish to show the true beauty, to do like a level reveal almost.
You mentioned that. It reminds me of this game, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, has some similar blossoming moments as well.
This interview was conducted 2 months before the date that the One Toys for Bob had announced that they were working on a brand new title. Now, what happens when you combine a co-studio head and creative director who wants a brand new Spyro title and a CEO that allows game developers to choose what they want to work on while also owning Spyro? Well, you get something, and it's certainly purple. Look, all of this evidence is before I put my entire reputation on the line last year with my Spyro report, where I said that Spyro 4 was in development. If you refuse to believe me, if you want to wash that entire report that I made down the drain, if for some reason you want to give my reporting credit to zero, then at least look at everything else that has happened completely unrelated to my report. Now, I want to slow down here for a second and address the elephant in the room. As much as it's frustrating to me to see these types of comments under every single Spyro 4 video I make, whether it's news, whether it's theories, I'm not going to pretend like it's for no reason. Spyro Reignited came out in 2018, and it is currently 2025. You, me, we have been waiting for such a long time. Many people are just burnt out and say, I've held my hopes up before, I don't want to be disappointed again. And you know what? That's fair. That's completely fair and valid. In fact, my videos, especially from years ago, followed what I thought was evidence of the game coming back. I genuinely thought that it was going to come back inevitably, but it was actually interested parties just wanting to make the game. And here's the problem with my deductions on that. You could have all the interested parties imaginable, and the timing is simply not there for a project. Whether it's other projects that take priority, other projects needing help, or there being a global pandemic. Sometimes interest doesn't equal a product being made, at least not during a timely manner. But genuinely, and I truly mean this, your hope, my hope, your positivity, and my positivity is not wasted and was not and is not in vain. I genuinely believe that every single person at Toys for Bob has seen yours, mine, everybody's passion in love for Spyro, and I truly believe in some way or another it has given them some form of inspiration to make this game. Just think about it for a second. The first project that Toys for Bob chooses, right when they are told that they can make whatever they want, they're free. They can make whatever that they wish to choose. And you know what they choose? They chose Spyro. I think you did that. I think we all did that. You know, a friend once told me, if anything positive is to happen, you yourself need to be positive. So I ask, if you are tired, if you are burnt out from waiting for a brand new Spyro title, please just hold out just a little bit longer. I do believe that we are almost there. Now, if you want to know how long you might be waiting for a Spyro reveal or announcement, this video right here will be for you, as I go over the release windows of when we will probably see a brand new Spyro the Dragon.